Hello class, my name is Andrew Fernandez and this is my video discussion for Unit 5 um, and this is our final video discussion for international media, so I hope you all enjoyed this class as much as I did. This was probably my favorite reading. I'm a huge fan of the digital age, and so seeing the transition from modern age journalism and reporting to today's more in tune with today's society. It was a fascinating read for me. It was hard for me to select one question, so I will be going over a few questions. How has the technological change influenced the nature, form, and function of global journalism? What does the rise of citizen journalism mean for the practice of global journalism? And how concerned are you about the spread of fake news online in global journalism, and why? So I'll just go over, almost a summary of from my reaction paper. So in chapter 9, we learn about the digital age, but through the global broadcasting platform lens. The most interesting topic to me in this chapter was the discussion of streaming, the creation of streaming, and then the evolution that the book referenced as Internet 2.0. So in 2018, YouTube had 192 million viewers. Netflix came in close second with 147 million, Amazon 88 million. But these numbers do not reflect viewership outside of the United States, so that's strictly just the United States numbers, which blew my mind. A quote that really stood out to me from David 2013, YouTube's influence on the common person role in the dissemination of information is greater than just about any modern technology event since the creation of the movable type Gutenberg press. And so Gutenberg's invention led to a more efficient way of disseminating information. And I almost felt like this was like a movie, right? You have sometimes a prequel and then a sequel, and I feel like YouTube is beginning the transition to the next generation of sharing information. So in 2006, Google acquired YouTube for 1.65 billion. So not only did YouTube become a platform to share information, most recently we've seen YouTube become an online television provider. So it's just a constant involvement of YouTube, which, in my opinion, is a great it's a great foundation of seeing the rise of digital age. Talking about journalism, I was a journalism major in my undergrad, so I reflected back on the classes that were taking place in my undergrad, and then I have a full-time employee in my department, and I've talked to her about her experience in mass communication, and it's just crazy how the involvement. I remember one of my assignments was to create a blog, and then in one of my final classes I finally created a Twitter handle. So I graduated in 2011, so it's just crazy how quick media platforms and global journalism and local journalism has changed. And so in May of 2016, it is reported that there's only 40,000, right under 41,000 people working as full-time reporters and journalists. And so I remember having an internship with a newspaper in San Antonio, and they were telling me that the newspaper business is dying, and are you sure you want to get into this? And so because of that, we've seen a steady decline in the newspaper circulation. So China has the largest circulation with 93.5 million daily newspapers. India is the second largest with 78.8 million. But from 2012 to 2016, paid digital subscriptions increased from 5.4 million to 25.4 million. So we see the digital era really really coming to life. The role of journalism has also changed. So what does the rise of citizen journalism mean for the practice of global journalism? I think social media has given or has put more accountability on local media to get the story right, because now we have firsthand experience often, right? So if in a way, we all are journalists with social media. And that leads me to the other question that was asked in this unit: how concerned are you about the spread of fake news online in global journalism, and why? So the good thing about social media is that immediate access, right? If a story is posted, the news media has instant access to their audience, and the audience has um, the an instant ability to provide feedback to that story. And so that's something that journalism has definitely seen. It used to be a longer process, right? You write an article in the newspaper, it's printed the next day, and then people provide feedback. So that's how we've seen a change, right? So the rise, the news media used to be the service that will check the government or on their use of power, or provide surveillance, or even in this chapter they called them a spy. But the role has expanded so much during the digital age. The rise of online and mobile media has created a new way for reporters to share their news with the public, but it also provided news media with the most access they ever had with their audience. Mobile media provides instant access and access to news at real time. An area for growth, according to the chapter for mobile media, is the lack of diverse languages. This is especially important for the areas that lack economic resources needed for online and mobile access. An interesting fact was, in some countries, digital firewalls are actually created to block international media platforms. In China, they created a firewall that restricted well-known media platforms such as Google, Facebook, Twitter, and the New York Times. Through this digital age and era, I did not think about this until this chapter of how society is now paying more for their news through digital subscriptions and paid applications. So we now see advertisers committing to the digital area as well by allocating their marketing funds to the digital side rather than the print side. So another key element to the digital age is the transformation of the audience into users. So as I mentioned earlier, social media allowed members to be active participants in the media. They too have become reporters and challengers of stories and advertisements, and social media has also allowed us to see inside the spending habits of society and inside the minds through algorithms or artificial intelligence. So now they're able to track how we think, and so now the stories can be aligned to our thought process, our likes and our dislikes. But great chapter, and I look forward to hearing your feedback.